What is up, everybody? I am BigBri, and you guys are watching our very first episode of the season of the Mosh of the Pigskin in the Mosh Pit podcast. I can't talk. Let me bring in my esteemed panel, who will be talking better than I will. First, we have Mr. Jeff Hatrix.
How you doing, brother?
What's up? I'm having a hard time talking.
It's all right. It happens.
Next, we have Mr. Larry the Wolf.
Oh, oh.
What's up, man?
What's going on, gentlemen?
And of course, our esteemed sports writer and metalhead drummer, Mr. Dan Gilles. What's up, Dan?
What's going on, everybody?
What's
How you
happening?
doing?
Now, before we even get started and all this, and we've been talking about this now for a few minutes, and I just want to touch base because of the people who are watching probably want to hear just a little bit about it. This is Tuesday. This is the 20th of August, which means just Saturday. A few days ago, it was Purgatory and Manimals and Midnight at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and we were talking about it. It was it was just an amazing show. Period. It was just amazing, and I don't want to get too much into it because this really isn't that podcast, but it really was amazing, and yeah, we were just talking about how much fun it was. Wasn't it? It was a lot of fun. Dan didn't get to make it, unfortunately. Yeah, but man, you guys put on a hell of a show. Jeff, you sounded amazing.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah, I mean, and Larry, I don't even know what to say, dude. The Manimals are just wow. Great time, great bands, great a venue that they put on, and they are what a great place the Rock Hall was. How they take care of everybody. The food in the rooms and everything was just absolutely top notch, just beautiful. It was well done. You really can't complain about nothing.
Nope.
It was a great night, and thank you, Brian. And as I said, BigBri, thank you so much for relentlessly pushing it on your weekly Thursday night show, because you gave us so much promotion and exposure on that. Thank you. And Jeff, we were talking earlier. I mean, I love the fact that I thought the three bands, Manimals, Purgatory, Midnight, just they sound good together. And I think we all agreed it was a great night where everybody came out and brought their best show, and everybody had a great night.
Yeah,
it felt 100% meant to be.
Yes.
Yeah, man, that was just what a fun night.
You want everybody at their best, because then everybody's happy, and that's how it struck me, is that I kept seeing people saying they dug the whole thing. People didn't leave or come and go; they stayed. They wanted to see everything.
Yeah, three very different bands too, as far as heavy metal itself goes. Not very much alike each other at all. I think Midnight's much more straightforward. Kind of a punk metal mix but such a straightforward, heavy, fast, just in your face band. I think where the Manimals have a lot of melodies hidden in with a lot of things going on that are just not that orthodox. You know, it's just kind of beautiful in its own way. And Purgatory is just that beautiful, straight 80s fucking great metal that was just, and they were like, I think one of the best at it at the time for sure. And it's almost a timeless 80s pieces. Some of them songs are almost timeless. I mean, so it was just great. It's great to watch those bands. It was phenomenal, and that's all I can say. It was a phenomenal time.
Yeah.
Now, what I want to say is this: if anybody watched some of the episodes from last year, we just did some episodes toward the end of the year, tested them out. The way we're going to be doing it this year is we won't have Don on for a little while, Mr. Don Foose. He won't be with us in the beginning. We're hoping sometime during the season he'll be able to join us. And Don is a pimp forever, so he has a forever license to come on and be on the panel whenever he wants or whenever he can. And so that's why you're not seeing Don. And the other thing is, we do have a comment thing over here where you can go ahead and post comments and ask us questions or whatever. And I'll do my best to try to watch that and answer you guys. If you're watching, if you want to, whatever. That's just there for your convenience if you want to try to contact with us or whatever. We're going to be talking Browns football. That's really the subject. We also got Larry the Wolf with us. He'll be giving us some perspectives, some some different perspectives, maybe that aren't always Cleveland Browns, which is why he's here. One of the reasons it's not just because he's a great guy. Gotcha. All right. A few things we want to talk about now. So right now it's the preseason's going, and it's interesting preseason so far. I mean, preseason is one of them topics where everyone always has that same preseason doesn't mean anything. Preseason doesn't mean anything, and we've had great preseasons and lost every game. And this preseason, I would say, is going down is a terrible preseason if you are somebody who puts anything into the preseason, right? So let me ask you guys: do you guys put anything into a preseason in a football team? Did you ever look at a preseason as any kind of gauge whatsoever into a football team? What's about to come?
No.
Dan, start with you, Dan. I guess I should. Dan, go ahead. What's your feeling?
Preseason for me is just looking to see who are going to be the bottom 10 people on the roster and who's going to be on the practice squad. That's really all it is. I mean, especially you go back 10 years and they were like real position battles because the team just sucked. And so every position was up in the air. But now they're decent and we have established starters. So now it's pretty much just seeing, okay, who's going to be bagging groceries in a week and who's going to be, on the kick return team, And so to me, that's the fun part is seeing like some of these, really great guys in college who show up and they're just kind of faces in the crowd and seeing if they can stand out and make their mark, seeing what undrafted guys make the team, seeing if there's any veterans that can crack it. But to me, wins and losses don't really matter. It's fun to see them win, but to me, it's preseason. That's my phrase. It's preseason.
Okay. What do you think, Jeff? Do you take anything out of it?
I'm praying, I guess the word would be, that we can have healthy bodies at left tackle.
That too.
And that this last game in Seattle, nobody else goes down for the year or even for a couple games. Because the list is getting short and the guys that are coming back from injury aren't there yet. And will they ever be? I mean, Jack Conklin seems like if you breathe on him a little too hard, he might be out for the year.
Yeah, I know. That is an issue. They talk about his talent and the fact that he's a good tackle and everything, but the best ability is availability. I always agree with that. Yeah, 100%. What do you think, Larry? I mean, like, do you ever put much into that crapola? Uh-oh. Hold on. Larry's muted. I see he's under some kind of a mute, Larry. Hold on. Let me see.
You guys trying to tell me something?
Yeah, you're muted. I don't know what happened now. I don't want to piss off the wolf. Fuck.
Hey, I know I was a little out of tune. I was a little pitchy the other night, but
I didn't hear that.
You might be a little cruel, but
I didn't hear you being pitchy at all. You sounded great.
Okay.
You sounded like the song.
You're right. I wasn't pitchy at all.
Son of a pitch.
Son of a pitch.
I got to get. I think I have to get. Jeff, do you use those in-ear monitors?
Yeah.
I got to get those because I'm telling you, I don't know. I start going into.
I hated them at first, but now I don't think I could do it without them.
Yeah, I'll tell you, you can't. You need those things. If those don't work, you start going, "Oh shit, I can't hear nothing."
Yeah,
and you got to be able to hear the thing, no doubt about it. You have to.
Now that I'm back with Disney, you can hear me. So I'll try to be.
What's your idea of preseason? How do you feel about that?
I have what Jeff just mentioned about injuries. To me, the whole thing is get out of the damn thing without anybody getting hurt. You know what your lineup's got. There's going to be a couple guys who, Dan, you mentioned the college. There's drop off at every level. High school is a drop off to college, to Division III. Who gets Division 1, 2, 3, and whatever. Then at Division I schools, who's a Power 5 school, and who's going to start and make an impact at a Power 5 school at college, and then who's going to make the transition, be able to play at the next level and exceed at the next level. When you get guys that are established, you know they're playing. You don't want them hurt. I have preseason injury PTSD because of the story I've told you guys previously about on my 10th birthday in 1971, August, watching Tampa Stadium, the opening of it. They bring in the Lions and Joe Namath, the return of Joe Namath, and he gets his healthy left knee destroyed in a meaningless exhibition game by Paul Newmark of the Lions, trying to tackle a guy on a fumble from a player who didn't make the team. I mean, it just, so I hate I hate the preseason nonsense with risking injuries with anybody. I understand the thinking, but they look at them. The talent assessment is so much more sophisticated now than when it was done 40 years ago or 20 years ago even.
Yeah,
So
no, I hear that.
I'm not a fan of it.
No, I agree with that 100% too. I agree. My opinion of that is totally it's a waste of.
Isn't Minnesota having all kinds of problems with injuries right now?
Yeah.
Well, they lost JJ McCarthy for the year.
Yeah.
Number one draft pick.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
crazy.
like, and nobody cares. I mean, like, these are games that mean nothing. They mean absolutely nothing.
Yeah. So
Well, if you looked at the stadium, it was like half empty.
Yeah, right. No one's even there. Well,
No one's even there.
So now they're talking. So now they're talking about doing away with. I know Goodell said that he wanted to do away with preseason and go with 18 games. And if he says it, it's just a matter of time, really, till it's coming to fruition. It's just once he puts it out there, that's just for all of us to start digesting what's coming, basically. So that's really what's going to happen. So they're going to go to 18 games and do away with the preseason. So I guess in the end, we all kind of get what we want in some way. So I mean, I do. I think that works out for everybody. I have no problem with that. I mean, do you guys? Would you guys have a problem with 18-game season and then no preseason?
I think it works if they expand the rosters and do 2 bye weeks.
Well, I agree with the bye weeks. I agree they need a second bye week.
You need to if you're going to do that. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I've heard many times where they said that the NFL's ultimate goal is to reach the Super Bowl on President's Day weekend. They want that weekend. They want a Monday off.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have that President's Day off, so they want that Monday off. So the Super Bowl is more,
festive,
celebratory, so they can get because let's be honest. I mean, that's always been if there's one issue with the Super Bowl, it's on a friggin' Sunday and. It's not a holiday. People have to go to work the next day. So it's always, it's always tempered because of that on some level. Not everybody, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So let's talk Browns. Let's talk about, we got Dallas coming up here in 3 weeks, right? Somewhere around there. Less than 3 weeks now, but it's coming up. That's first game. That's home. Dallas Cowboys, man. That's a big one. So we got a lot of things going on. We got line. We got the biggest issue I see with the Browns right now is offensive line. And I mean, can we all agree that's probably going to be the biggest issue going into the season, especially 100%. The tackles.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tackles for sure. I mean, our interior line is very solid, but we don't have much depth there right now. But as far as our outside guys, our 2 tackles, we got some real issues right now. And even when they're healthy, we kind of have issues. I mean, Conklin's just one sharp breeze away from a massive injury, and Wills has just really never been worthy of that first round pick.
He's been a disappointment. There's just his body language. He just looks like he doesn't want to be there. He's very inconsistent with his blocking, holding penalties left and right. For a first round pick, you want that left tackle that's going to be like Joe Thomas.
Yeah,
and he ain't it.
Yeah, you want the guy to love football. He seems like he's going through the motions.
Yeah,
there's not a lot of Joe Thomases out there though, Dan.
Yeah, I know.
100%. I agree.
And you can get spoiled with that kind of thing as a fan. But let's just be honest. I mean, you're right on one hand. There's not a lot of Joe Thomases, but in football, the way they go about it is like, where were you drafted? And was he worth that pick? And he was a first rounder, and he hasn't played like a first rounder as far as that goes. And
he'd probably be better at right tackle.
Well, now they're talking about putting Conklin at left side, and which means Jones would be our right tackle starting the season. It sounds like if he can go.
I mean, why not move him over?
I don't know why Jones I just don't know why. They just don't put Conklin in a bubble wrap and then put Jones on the field and then just
unless you never know, maybe they're keeping Jones at right tackle because that's the spot Watt usually plays. That's
yeah. I never know.
And he had his way with Watt last year.
Yeah, he did. He one pressure out of 19 plays. They said. I don't know how I know that's that. That's just I pulled that one out of my ass.
That's a me stat.
I mean, every edge rusher, there's somebody out there who has the antidote for them. They just there's that guy with all that. With, I mean, no offense, guys, I forget his name. The guy from the Texans had the antidote for Myles Garrett in that playoff game last year. He didn't get any help on it. He shut him down.
CJ Stroud, you talking about?
No.
Laramie Tunsil.
Laramie Tunsil.
Yeah.
Oh,
He
yeah.
wrecked him.
Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying.
He schooled him one-on-one. I don't want to hear all the double teams and triple teams. That's bullshit. That game one-on-one, he had his number.
I feel like Garrett is the most held player in football.
Oh,
because
totally.
they don't want him to have 20 sacks a game, and if he wasn't held and having the penalties not called, he'd have at least 5 a game.
I think I agree that he is held a lot and it's not called, but I do also believe that pretty much all the dominant pass rushers in the NFL have that problem. I really think that. I mean, I think Watt has that problem. I think they all do.
Watt kind of plays a different position. He's a linebacker.
Yeah, but I think he gets held a lot. I still think that I think what you said was true. I think that the NFL has a way of protecting the quarterbacks at all costs. So in other words, they even take dudes money away from them, because that's what you're getting paid basically on is your sacks and stuff. But they'd rather have that guy getting held and not getting to that quarterback rather than having them quarterbacks get hit.
Plus, it doesn't help that the Browns aren't in the core ownership group in football, and
the big five, the big four.
There's a big hatred for the team because of the Watson stuff. So there's that much more pressure.
Yeah, that's a good point. Do you want to talk about that? I like that sub. That's a good little subject right there. I'd like to get into that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that a little bit. Now there's definitely exists. Watson, I mean, the Haslams are kind of out on their own little island, I believe. I do feel that is. I don't think I hear that very often said or talked about, but I think they have put themselves out there. Even with stadium, when we'll talk about the stadium stuff here, but even with that, you kind of get the sense that they're just kind of on their own thing, man. Right? Like
I feel there's owners that want to be able to do it all discount, like Mike Brown, for instance. He probably will never overpay for anyone, and Haslam is not afraid to throw that money around. I would be surprised.
He's not.
I would be surprised if they say, hey, Mike Vrabel, stay around for a little longer. You don't need that head coaching job. I'll pay you head coach money.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy too, ain't it?
Yeah.
Vrabel. We got Mike Vrabel just running around up and down the field with the guys. What the fuck?
Doing drills with the Joku.
It is kind of a crazy thing. It's like they have everything in place. I don't know what else to say about this team. I mean, everything is in place. So the Haslams have kind of put themselves out there on an island, and I've always thought that once that stuff happened with Watson and the guaranteed money came into play, that he would start having issues.
There's a lot of ownership anger.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah, but you're starting to see a lot of contracts with some big guarantees. Are they just blaming that on Haslam? I mean, look at it like this. I'll real quick just say this. Somebody guaranteed the first contract, no matter what, and put guaranteed money in it. And it wasn't the Haslams. All right?
Yep.
The Haslams just upped the ante to where it got to. All right? They weren't the inventors of the guaranteed money.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
And so it was going to get there eventually. Somebody was going to do it. These owners are greedy, fucking egotistical maniacs. And eventually, they're always their worst own culprits. They're always, it's always the case with them. They complain, but really, they're their own worst enemy. I mean, they have to have that shiny thing, and that's the way it goes. So
I think it's because it's the Browns. It's because it's Cleveland. And there's always been a stigma against Cleveland, especially against the Browns, especially within the NFL. Had Watson went to the Falcons gave him that contract, you wouldn't hear a peep.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe not as bad. I agree that the Browns do seem to bring a lot out of people, a lot of hatred. But
which I don't get. But hey, whatever. We're not Pittsburgh, so be it.
All right, I'm going to give you guys the dissenting view.
All right.
I think there are more Browns backers clubs outside of Cleveland than almost any other team, other than maybe like Dallas or all the people that jumped on the bandwagon with the Patriots. I mean, I think I understand what you're saying, But I do think that there are people who are purists in football that respect the Browns' legacy of when they truly were great. And I think that they'd be very happy. Maybe they may like the Haslands. You guys know far more about that than I do. But I do think there's an element of traditional people who would love to see Cleveland Browns return to greatness.
I agree.
Yeah, that's like a fan world though. The hatred we're talking about is the rest of the owners.
Yeah, the ownership
and the league itself. Like we might have had a draft here, but that was like a little band-aid for the shit that's gone on against the team.
Well, Jeff, there's kind of like an Illuminati at the top. That's I get that. I get that.
Well, heck, originally they wanted to split the draft between Cleveland and Canton with the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and then eventually they made it just Cleveland. But that was that little caveat. It was like, oh, you get it, but you get to share it with the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah, right.
You know,
they're talking about giving us another one because weather was terrible, and they want to try it again when it ends up being nice.
So now speaking of the Haslam's, I want to talk about the stadium proposal thing and how ridiculous the conversations that I'm hearing in my mind really are.
The county.
Well, yeah, I'm trying to understand if people are truly serious about when you look at the proposal of that thing by the airport. That thing is a game changer. I mean, it's literally like I don't even know how the magnitude of it, how you could even put it into words that really truly could capture what it really would be to this area. And when I say this area, when you hear someone talk about Brook Park, it's as if it's like Tucson, Arizona.
Yeah.
Or like
it's literally a mile away.
Yeah, I'm like, it's across the street, dude. It's literally across the street from Cleveland. All right. If you go across the street, Brook Park Road separates Brook Park and Cleveland. You walk across the street and it's Cleveland. Across the fucking street.
Yeah, the surrounding area is going to thrive, and that's right across the street.
And I'm like, what is wrong with all you people? And if you look at those layouts and you see what they're talking about, and so it's that, or it's take that crappy little bowl on the fucking lake that's been there forever, and the only reason that we're so attached to it at all is just because it's been there forever. That's the only reason. I mean, like, really, that's it. It like the whole idea behind it really is kind of silly, you know. Yeah. Like it was cool a long time ago. It's not really cool anymore. No. And they're talking about building this thing that changes everything. Literally it's a game changer. It's not just the facility. It's the whole fucking thing that we don't have as an airport or as a city. That's Cleveland Airport. We're talking right next door. So how then are we even having these discussions? Let me ask you guys this. I'm gonna ask the Wolf. I'm gonna ask the Wolf this. Is this politics we're watching, pure and simple? Is that what it is? Is this just pure politics at play, or are we just? Is this real stuff happening? What is this? What do you think?
You guys know more than I do, more intimately than I do on this. But as my observation is, it's ridiculous to cling to this bullshit thing down at the lakefront. It sucks. If anybody didn't know the parking sucks down there, if they didn't figure that out the other day during our show, you've got that thing. You've got the Science Center, you got the Rock Hall, all smashed into this little area. The parking blows. It just does. It's all piecemeal. And I was telling my kids about the Richfield Coliseum. You know, people complain, but you know what? Nobody complained about getting in and out. You had to ride through the roads, up and back. In bad weather, I was at that Kiss show in the blizzard of '78. You had to surf your way out. Me too. Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, you were in the big box, surrounded by the gigantic parking lot. They were going to get you.
Yeah, it was a bit. There was more parking than you ever needed.
Yes, you know, parking for $50 at Burke, or parking here, and there's 20 spots there, and it's just ridiculous. I had to walk 2 miles the other day after unloading my shit out of the car to get back to the Rock Hall to play a show, and I had to walk 2 miles again. That night after playing the show because I couldn't park anywhere nearby.
And if that rain had moved just a few minutes one way or the other, you guys were totally screwed, man.
So I mean, and I think Dan, you said the stadium was half filled.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
There
even
you
with
go.
that, it was too much traffic. And
Yeah.
they have an opportunity. It was a nice stadium for the relaunch, whatever it was, 20 years now, I think. It's been about
Almost 30.
almost 30, my God.
1999.
I mean, it was a nice stadium when it was, because the old Lakefront was a pain in the ass, the old giant one. But this one here, to have a world-class facility that could be like the new shiny new crown jewel in the NFL, the excitement of having a new state-of-the-art place. I mean, what the hell? It has to be politics, Brian. The older I get, the more I realize there's kingmakers out there. There's that little elite group that's handling everything, and they don't give a shit about most of us.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I mean, like, there's no other reason for us even really to have these conversations. And I understand that there are people who are worried about where the money's going to come from. But you know what? So that's what I think this is. I think this is just a politics play here where everyone's just trying to play the other one until somebody gives up the most amount of money before they start building this. I think the Haslam's have already made up their fucking mind. They're not.
And it's ridiculous too, because people are like, "Oh, you're going to move there. You're going to get one Final Four every 10 years. This every 10 years. A Taylor Swift show every 5 years." There's going to be so much shit going on there. That thing will have huge stuff going on all the time, and the whole area is going to benefit. Like a councilman was crying that the city proper is going to lose $5 million a year. Every big event they have there. Every hotel in town is going to be full. All the bars are going to be full. People do stuff in the surrounding area. It's not going to all go to Brook Park. There's not enough. It's going to still be in Cleveland and still be down to Macedonia or wherever, because you can fill all the hotels everywhere. The city's not going to lose.
It's true. It's very true.
You're right,
not going to lose.
100%, Jeff. 100%.
It's true, man. It's true. And it's a stupid concept.
You know,
Well, now Cleveland can actually develop the lakefront like they've always wanted to develop it. You
Yeah,
know?
I'll tell you what. Jeff Phelps said something today that was right on. He says they talk about developing the lake was always a problem because of the stadium.
Yeah,
It was always there, so it was always a problem. Now they're saying, well, we can't lose the stadium because it's part of the development. Well,
the
stadium's been there.
They've been wanting to do this for 70 years. It's like, shit, or get off the pot.
Well, the stadium's been there since what, the 30s?
Years.
The stadium's been
31.
on that property since the 30s, right?
And the foundation's terrible. I guess.
They've never done anything with that shit. Dude.
It's a landfill. That whole area is a landfill.
It is. Even the airport, all that stuff.
Yep.
So that's it, man. Just get rid of it. And you know what's funny? That county dude, the county auditor, I think
that guy was hilarious.
A county executive. Is that the county executive, right? He's the one that's jumping on. Dude, I interviewed that guy.
Oh,
I fucking interviewed that dude. He was running for it, man, and he jumped on. I swear to God, this happened. It was on one of these episodes, a live one. He sits down and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna talk to this kid, this guy, this podcaster dude." And I looked at him and I was like, "County, huh?" And I was like, first thing I said was, "I go, so what are you gonna do with the lakefront?" He's like, "What?" I'm like, "The lakefront. That's your job. Like, what are you going to do with that?" He's like, "Well, man, I never really thought I was going to sit down and get real questions." I'm like, "Yeah, dude."
What?
I'm like, "Yeah."
No, we're not going to food, brother.
He must have he didn't do any homework.
No, that was fun. That really did actually happen. So there. And
That's funny.
So now when I'm hearing him talk about the lakefront, I'm like, "Oh yeah, I started this conversation." But anyway, so we all agree, though. Everybody agrees. The stadium, renovating that fucking stadium is a terrible idea. And we were all just at the Rock Hall. And you just said, man, the Rock Hall is really a classy, cool ass fucking place that I really think everybody needs to go check out. If you haven't been there, just go. I mean, it is a neat place. And it would be even cooler if they just got rid of the stadium and was able to do something. Like a cool venue right there would be just with the lake in the backdrop and the whole thing right there. It is prime for that. Like you could really, like something really cool, not a big one, a nice medium-sized venue,
like an amphitheater,
yeah, man, like
almost like Nautica.
Exactly like Nautica, dude, which is my favorite place to go see a show. I don't care what anyone tells me. I'll go there before anywhere else, man. I love it.
Yeah, and they could have proper parking and have it be a park basically when it's not having concerts.
Exactly, dude. You could have all kinds of. You could do a lot of stuff with that, something like that, man, for sure.
You know, you guys are exactly right, because I know if they're talking about with the city, you want people in the city, you want people to move back to the city, make the city safe and improve the friggin' education system, the Cleveland school system.
Very true.
Okay, because people aren't going to move down there. You know what? We don't see, if they had parks down there like you're talking about, you'd see people with their families walking around.
Yeah, it's true,
People
man.
don't want to live in a city now because they know that's problematic. It doesn't matter what 22 stadiums in. Who cares? You want people to live in the city and bring it to life. You want young families moving in there and saying, you know what, my first home is going to be in Cleveland. And I don't mind sending my kids to the schools because it's safe and it's good. They can't say that right now.
You're right, man.
And they're looking for the football stadium's going to fix it. Bullshit. Move the stadium, get the new place, and let them fix that because they can't fix shit. Let's get a new stadium.
Well, you know that stadium was thrown together literally at the last second. To placate the NFL to
just
get
like
the
the
grounds
gun
back as soon as possible. Yep.
Yeah, it's the basic model. It's the basic model of stadiums.
And that's why it's outdated. That's why it's falling apart. That's why
it's more than that.
It doesn't matter because it was built faultly. It was thrown together just to bring a team back, a shitty team, by the way.
Yeah,
and they can't
make factory of sadness.
Video.
The factory of sadness.
They really can't make some impressive video like the one for that place in Brook Park. Anything they show us is going to be a joke.
Yeah, well, you're right.
100%.
It becomes the factory of sadness all over. Just those.
Yeah.
They show the prints of those. But the thing about it is that I think what they don't always talk about is the fact that because it's on a lake and you have that wide openness and you have the weathering factor that happens from being on a water like that. Obviously, it's not salt water. It's not the same. But it's a totally different type of weathering that's going on these facilities, and it takes a whole different amount of maintenance to keep these things up versus a facility that's located next to the fucking airport.
Where
you are literally, and they're talking about building tunnels. They're talking about building tunnels that'll be directly to the building from the airport and stuff. I mean, come on. If you want to draw people to your city, if you want to become more than the laughing stock that we've been for the last 700 fucking years, if you want to be that, this is the kind of shit that gets you there. Like you have to be able to like people that are of I don't know, what do you call famous people or whatever, when they're coming, they want to be able to get off the plane and just go right to the facility. How much cooler is it than that? You know what I'm saying? The convenience.
Every possible mode of transportation will be able to get people right there with zero problem.
RTA is right there.
The trains, anything.
It just makes so much sense.
Yeah.
So much sense.
It does. And the other thing about it, before I see Rockstar Radio chimed in. He says they need the ancient Romans to build the new stadium. Come on. I don't know about that. But the new stadium also, I mean, you have 480, 71, 71's right there. 480's right there. You got 237 right there. The turnpike is right there. You can literally, 90 literally runs into 71 from the east. And then it literally is the most accessible place I think I could possibly find. It's the luck of having that much land available in that exact location is almost uncanny. You'd almost have to be absolutely brainless to not do it at this point.
And you won't even have to go from sitting in the parking lot to waiting in another parking lot to get out, because with all of those ways out, it's going to be no problem.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
They're adding more lanes. They're going to add more ramps. It's like, how unlogical do you have to be to not support this?
Yeah,
you have to be the county or Cleveland councilman, I guess.
Yes, and that's the D at the end of your name. Oops,
dude,
I went there.
Dude, just because these guys are talking about not building it, I want to campaign against them. That's how I feel about it. I could care less about politics, but that makes me mad. It's like, you know what, you guys shut the fuck up.
I look at like Indianapolis. They're a Midwest city. A lot of people used to say, why the hell would you go to, but what's in Indiana? Right? But yet they had the Hoosier Dome, which was a pretty nice stadium. They didn't mind raising that and putting up the place they have right now. And they're like the home of the combine,
so
right?
many events,
Oh, they have the Final Four, Big Ten Championship.
they just took a shot. And a lot of people, you say, oh, what the hell's in Indiana? And, there's a lot of stuff going on in Indianapolis because they took the leap and
You're
blew
right.
up a nice stadium to put some. Again, don't they host the combine every year now?
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's a
It's a big
cool
deal.
thing to own. That really is.
And that design they're talking about building, to me, that's the coolest stadium I've ever seen.
Yeah, man.
I think it'll be the place.
I would love to.
It is. It's beautiful. I mean, what they're showing, obviously, those never live up exactly to what they look like, but it'll be close, and close would be good enough for me if they can even make it close to what I'm looking at there.
The way I see it, why wouldn't they be able to use?
Well,
real
I mean,
grass?
I'm not saying they. Well, I mean, who the fuck am I to know? But I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
With all that light from that roof, they should be able to have normal grass.
Oh, they will.
I mean, yeah,
They will.
That would be wild, man. But and I do like the idea of having all the hotels and stuff that they're talking about there. I think if there's one thing we need, I mean, locally, our airports suck for that reason. I mean, you go anywhere else, you land in any city in the United States, pretty much except Cleveland, and there's hotels everywhere. Here, like, you got to travel. Like, people that land in Cleveland have to go to Rockside. That's like the most popular place to go to get a hotel, which is, I don't know, what, 20 fucking miles away from the airport. I mean, it's fucking ridiculously stupid how it's set up. I don't know. I just never. I mean, I'm not saying there's no hotels from here to there. I'm just saying decent ones.
Anything close to that vision is impossible to cram in that tiny space downtown.
It's impossible.
It's like, no, Jim, you can't have a surrounding community. No way.
No,
you have to stay at this piece of shit we're in right now.
Yeah, parking's a nightmare down there. Period. That's the end of the story. I mean, and when parking is a nightmare, there's really nothing else to talk about.
You know why Cleveland's so pissed? They're going to lose out on that parking revenue that they jack up every fucking weekend.
For sure, that will happen. Now that I agree. But you know what? Fuck them. That is
exactly. Fuck them.
Yeah, that is
cares?
I'm not going to.
Unity lot sucks.
Yeah,
wow, poor little Cleveland.
I won't lose any sleep over the parking lot millionaires.
The thing about it is it costs for somebody. I think that how much would you say it costs for somebody to take their family? Let's say 4 people down to a game. What are they going to spend?
I'd say $300 minimum. I'd say they're going to spend $300 total minimum for 4. What'd you say? 4 people?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say it's a $300 a day. Tickets, parking, minimum.
That sounds light to me.
Yeah, I'm saying minimum. I'm saying nosebleeders, minimum food, but eat a little something. Parking, you're looking at $300. I'd say anywhere from $300 to $800 is probably.
I was going to say more like $125 a person because you buy your kid maybe a jersey of their favorite player or some hats or some pennants and stuff, and you buy some merch. I mean, if you're going to expect people to pay that kind of money, isn't it good business to make it easy for them to spend their money and to make it a positive experience? They're coming in to give you their money. They're going down there to give you their money.
Yes.
Why not make it the best? You can even charge them a little. People will pay more if it's a smaller experience.
It's a very good idea.
I feel like these councilmen and the county, it's almost like they're jealous that Brook Park's going to have some jewel now, and it's not in Cleveland proper. And the whole area is called Greater Cleveland. It's like, get your heads out of your collective rear ends and just appreciate what can be.
Yeah. Well, it's like I said, it's a game changer. One idea is more of the same. The other idea is a game changer. I don't know about everybody else, but I like game changer. I think I like that much better.
There's a rumor that Cleveland might try to annex that part of Brook Park so that it would be Cleveland.
That's stupid.
It is stupid.
These guys need to lose their jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think that's a stupid. There's a lot of things that I
care about something that really matters.
Well,
we basically all agree that the idea of renovating the stadium is ridiculous, and we're moving on from that old stadium, and we're all headed to Brook Park, basically.
And
what I think is really good news.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
What I think is really good news is that CD Lamb, I guess, is holding out.
Oh, nice.
I believe
for the
he's going to
Cowboys?
skip. I believe he's going to skip the first game, like the guy from Kansas City last year, because he feels like with him out, they won't have as good of a game, and he can like make them sign him to the contract he wants, or they're going to lose game 2 also. Chris
Wow.
Jones did it last year.
So, I see. So if you hold out one game and they lose,
You up the ante of what they're going to pay.
So you're still gambling, especially when Cleveland's your opponent.
Yeah,
No offense,
but without that guy, they're way less of a threat to us.
Oh yeah,
I agree. We'll take any. Listen, it's a Cleveland fan. We all know we'll take any advantage we get. We don't give a shit. Yeah, I agree, man.
100%.
I don't need to see your best. I just need to see you. I just need to see you win.
And then Jamar Chase is holding in or holding out, doing one of them. So the Bengals without him aren't quite as much. I mean, Burrow's a nice player, but Chase had a lot to do with winning at LSU and
Burrow's also fragile.
Yeah,
very fragile.
He has been, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And we own him too, which is nice.
Yeah.
We haven't. I was going to say we haven't really had to worry too much about him as far as playing against him. We've done quite well against him. So, it's a funny year, man. I mean, like, I think the only reason everybody in the world isn't just saying that the Browns should win at all is just because every time they've done that, they've been burned by the Browns. So everyone's just not saying it. But talent-wise, they are loaded. The Browns are loaded. They're loaded in every position. They got. I mean, obviously, there's other teams that have a better wide receiver core, but their wide receiver core is pretty fucking good. There's other teams that might have a better running back core right now without Chubb, but the running backs are pretty fucking good. I mean, like, everything about them, even their weaknesses they're pretty good. I mean, like, we were just talking about their offensive line, which is their big weakness, but their interior line is one of the best in all of football, period. So they got that going for them, which is nice.
Yep.
So there's a lot of things about this team that are really positive going into the season. One real quick, I wanted to ask you guys. I did hear a rumor today. They were talking about, we got a lot of quarterbacks, and we got Huntley, we got
Jameis.
Winston.
Yeah, Jameis Winston, and of course we got Watson, and we got DTR, who's lighting it up. Another preseason of, DTR in the preseason is he might be the best preseason quarterback of all time. So yeah. So I heard today rumors that they might be shopping him.
I think it's necessity.
Yes.
I believe it's necessity. I think it's necessity because he's a very popular guy right now because he's got upside galore and no one really knows what he can be. And with this huge need for tackles, it would be idiotic not to try and move him.
And then try to land a tackle for him? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah. It's like the need is unbelievable because you need to protect Watson, and that's the glaring hole right now.
Yeah, well, that is the uncanny bizarreness of the situation, isn't it? That the Browns line has been stellar for how many years now? I mean, like decades, and literally, and now when you really need that line to be stellar, this is when they've been the most fragile I've seen them in a long time. So you think trading him is really a tactical move just to get us a lineman, basically?
It's a must at this time, and they really had a nice stock of guys, and they all went down in this past game, and it's like, goodbye preseason. I won't miss you a bit.
Nope. Nope.
The preseason, man, I'm not a big fan of it either, man. I got it.
Well, look at last year. Look what they were going to do with Josh Dobbs. Right before the end of training.
Yeah, that's true.
They were able to flip him for a 5th round pick, and where's he at now? He's nowhere.
Yeah,
he had his little moment in the sun with the Vikings, but he was nothing. And quarterbacks are like that. They're a hot commodity, and very few quarterbacks will play all 17 games. The need for backups is strong, and you have 4 guys right now that are one's Deshaun, but you have Winston could start for any other team.
But a lot of other teams.
A lot of other teams, not any, but a lot of them.
Yeah.
Huntley went to a Pro Bowl once, although it was a sham, but he went there.
Yeah, Pro Bowl is a sham all by itself, but yeah.
So you got guys that can do it in the league, and DTR for his small sample size last year did beat Pittsburgh and beat them up with the last second drive.
Yeah.
So the potential is there. But you got Watson. Watson's going to be your quarterback, hopefully, for the next 3 years, if not longer. It makes total sense to move him, to get what you can. Strike while the iron's hot. The dude's lighting it up. The film on him is fucking off the charts. Move him and get something that you can plug in right now that'll make your team better. I'm all for it. Hell, get the draft pick, too. Why the hell not?
Yeah. All right. I'm for that. You guys got me. You talked me into it. Trade him. Trade his that.
Yeah.
Now, if you got, again, it all hinges on the right return, though. We all agree on that, though, right? Don't just trade him away for a 4th or 5th rounder. That just
You need a
annoys
guy.
me.
You need a
When
guy
they do
that can
shit
play
like
now.
that, it just gets on my nerves. I mean, unless it's a straight money move, which the Browns don't really make a lot of money moves.
They
So
need a
so
player
it's
that-
it's like when they trade for draft picks that are late round draft picks, I'm always like, why? What's so? Let me ask you guys a question. What the fuck? Because Larry, I could ask Larry this too. He could. What the fuck does anyone give a shit about the 4th, 5th, and 6th round draft pick for? Like when they hold on to these things, when they trade for them, they're like, oh, we got to gather these picks. I mean, is this to just get guys on the practice squads and
Well,
No.
what the hell is it?
I think Big
Special
Brian.
teams?
I think that's the old Bill Parcells tactic or strategy. You load up because how many guys were supposed to be the guy in the draft in the 1st round and they don't pan out.
Yeah.
Haven't the Browns and the Jets gone through quarterbacks left? They can't. How many years since either team has had a true franchise quarterback? They can't draft.
A million.
A million.
Yeah.
Between the two of them, right?
Look
And
at
there's other
that
teams-
shirt.
How does Green Bay have 2 back-to-back Hall of Fame guys, and San Francisco 2 back-to-back Hall of Fame guys, and the Browns and the Jets between them 100 years of seasons they can't draft. They've had a couple good ones, but they can't get that guy. So I think a lot of them just say, look, this is an imperfect science here with these guys. Let's load up on the picks. Everybody knows Brady was a 5th round or whatever. There's going to be that's unlikely it's going to happen, but there are anomalies. And I think they look at it and say, can we get depth of talent? Can we get guys that want to? It's funny. It's amazing how well a team can do if you load it up with guys who want to actually be on the field.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yep.
That want to play. Like the Jets are going through a thing. They let a very good player that was their own guy, Bryce Huff, go last year in free agency. They screwed up. They let him go. They thought they filled the hole by taking Hakeem Reddick or whatever from the edge guy from the Eagles, who's been an All-Pro. They picked up supposed to be his free agency contract. The guy has not shown up since April Fool's Day when he came in for his physical and they announced him. He hasn't shown up. He is held out and he wants to be traded already.
Wow.
So that's a complete. It's utter. They had their own edge guy that they didn't pay, but this guy, the stupidity is, he's going to be a one. They knew they were getting him for 1 year.
Yeah.
That guy should go out there, put up 20 sacks. So Jeff, I'm going to tell you what you said before. Every great DE gets held, gets double
I
teamed,
know.
gets stunted, gets trapped, gets
They call
looked,
holding
everything
when they
else.
feel like
And
it.
the truly great ones figure out a way to get 20 sacks in a season. They just do. That's my opinion. But this guy should go out. He's going to get paid a fortune next year if he gets 15 sacks.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to show up. So I'll take guys that want to be on the field. It's amazing
sure.
what they can accomplish.
For sure. And in Cleveland's sake, you saw that with their defense last year.
Yeah.
When teams play, you see that with the Guardians. I mean, like when they want to play together, you could take some of the more mediocre talents and they elevate each other. It's
Yes.
like there's a thing that goes on. The 90s Indians were that way. Although they were highly talented also. But what I'm saying is we do see that once in a while, even here, where these teams they call it gelling or they call it whatever, but you don't see it all the time. But you do see it with the champions. You do see it with the champions. And that's one thing that you do get excited when you see the gelling, because that seems to be one of the key components of
Yes.
a champion, right?
And Big Bri, I think that's going back to your question you asked me about why would they try to get these mid-round guys.
Yeah.
I think because there's a lot of guys who they have egos. They were used to being very good on the teams they played with. And a lot of them have a chip on their shoulder because this one or that one didn't. I wasn't a second or third round draft choice. I got something to prove because they all know my buddy, the tall guy, the tall bald guy that was down with my family. There's my buddy Chris. He's the one that's got a kid who's right tackle on Clemson. What they're doing, right? I mean, it is all about the second contract. It's not about the first contract.
Right.
They're all going to get paid. The money, the real money, is staying healthy for the first 2-3 years, and you sign that contract.
Yeah, the second one, right?
Yeah.
That's where the big money is for the agent and for the player. So you would.
Oops.
I think what they do is they get a lot of these 4th, 5th, 6th round guys that think they have a chip on their shoulder because they should be drafted higher. The Jets have a guy right now, a wide receiver who's out of Western Kentucky, not a big school. Okay, I've been down there. He's killing it in their camp right now because that guy's a chip on his shoulder and he is playing like wants to earn that spot, like his life depends on it. That's hard to get now. So there's guys that are like that in those mid round. I think that's the appeal of them.
And plus, in my opinion, if you find somebody you really want, you got to have trade chips to move up to get the pick you want.
Yes.
So those later round picks come in there too.
Yep.
Well, look at DTR. He's a 5th round pick, and now we're talking about trading him for a possible starting offensive lineman. So, if you hit on those low round guys, you can flip them for assets that will fill needs.
Yeah.
And or they become Tom Brady, or they become whatever. What was his name? Antonio Brown was a 6th round draft pick by the Steelers.
Yeah, right.
Before he lost his mind, he was one of the best wide receivers in the NFL.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of it is luck, but a lot of it's just finding that person with the heart and with that will, that chip. Like, I should have been drafted this low. I should have been drafted way 2 days ago.
Yep.
I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna ball out. I'm gonna show you what you can do, and that's you gotta be lucky. But that's why a lot of those teams, and you're saving money too with a lot of those low round picks. You only get a 4-year contract out of them.
Yeah, a lot of value.
So it's a low risk, high reward.
Yeah, good point. Hell yeah. All right, so listen, I want to turn to Larry a little bit here. I want Larry. We like to end the show. I'm making it up on the fly here. We like to end the show with a little something that Larry will bring along here because, well, Larry's not the just to make it clear to anybody that's kind of watching, Larry is the one guy who's not necessarily born bred Clevelander. So he has opinions and he has feelings for teams outside of Cleveland. Now he's go ahead, explain a little bit. So
well, I told you guys before. I've got to a point where I used to be such a Jets fan, I let them bum me out when they didn't play well, and that's most of the time. So I figured I can get depressed on my own without their help. So I just decided, at some point for my own sanity and well-being, I love football, so I like to watch good football, and I of course I want to see the Browns do well because all my 90% of my friends are Browns fans, and I want to see them do well. It's good for everybody. Everybody's in a good mood, and it's good for the city. That's good for all of us.
Yeah.
But when I was a kid, something I really liked because I do like learning about the other players from other teams. Because when I was a kid, I used to go to the gas station, and this is when I know this was all throughout the country. And this was, I forget who, if it was Sunoco or Exxon or whatever, but you could get these cool sticker albums. And this was the National Football League Players 71 season, 75 cents. And, I held on to a lot of stuff. Now, what I hated about this first one that came out was because of trademark issues with the teams, they erased the logos off the helmet. So you got Earl Morrow with the Colts with his helmet missing. With his logo missing. And so I hated that. But now this is going to be falling apart. But what you used to do is you'd get a sticker and they got this funny thing inside showing that, the ancient pads that were so, those considered pretty state of the art at that time. They didn't have they weren't monkey ear single bar. It's a double bar helmet.
Oh, they were starting to get really worried about safety.
Yeah. And they got one pad on the top or whatever. But what's funny is you'd get these packets of players randomly, like getting football cards, and you'd collect them and you could stick them. There was a page for each team. And you can see I used Scotch tape because who the hell knew at the time it would turn brown over time. I didn't know not to get, archival tape. Who knew that?
Yeah, right.
But, I pull it out and there's Johnny U. There's Johnny Unitas. And who do I have here? Gary Collins, Cleveland Browns.
Wow.
And
in the '64 championship game.
And they're in perfect condition because they've been in that book, huh?
Well, they all
oh,
have
they-
that
oh,
residue of
Well,
old
yeah,
things.
but they look
Who's
good.
that?
Though.
Who's that?
Leroy
guy?
Kelly.
That's Leroy Kelly.
That's my
Yeah.
boy.
Yep, Leroy Kelly. Mike Curtis. Now I know a lot of people want to see Mike Curtis, Mad Dog Mike Curtis in the Hall of Fame because he was a significant player of that era. Who else we have here? But it was cool because you could go through and each team, they're all falling apart on me now. There's the Chiefs with Lenny Dawson and Otis Taylor, and a lot. Of course, I was always trying to get my Jet guys, and they put them right across from the Raiders. There's of course Broadway Joe Namath.
You don't know nothing about him.
Nope.
And in the back of this, I'll show you something very special I have. And what was cool is in the subsequent years they made it a little cool. They made it a little smaller and they added the helmet logos, and it was a cool thing. But in the back of this, I had something taped in there because my uncle he was on a business trip in Baltimore, and he went to the quarterback club in Baltimore. And so it has this thing on one side, and on the other side, to Larry, best wishes, Johnny Unitas.
Wow.
Dude.
Very cool.
That's so cool.
Now I bet he would want your autograph, dude. If he's seen that show I saw, if he's seen that fucking show I saw Saturday, he'd be like, I want that dude's autograph.
Well,
no shit, dude.
Johnny, you kicked the bucket a little while ago, so I guess
that's what I said. He would have. He would have, though.
Maybe he was there in spirit with us.
I don't want to speak for him, but I'll speak for him. He would want your autograph.
But I was as a kid. So to your point, BigBri, I love to. It helped me as a kid. I like to watch football, and back then you got to watch maybe two 1 o'clock games and 1 4 o'clock game, and you only get growing up in Cleveland because I moved here in 1970. They always focused on the AFC Central teams.
Yeah, right.
So if I wasn't seeing the Browns, if they were blacked out, I was going to have to sit through the Bengals. I didn't always want to watch the Bengals or the Steelers or the Oilers, sometimes, but you didn't get to see a lot of the other games. Maybe the 4 o'clock game, you'd see a West Coast. But this was a way of like collecting and with your buddies, and you could swap. And it was like football cards, but you tried to fill this stamp book of your players. And I liked that a lot when I was a kid. And you learn the players from the other teams without worrying about stupid fantasy football points.
Yeah.
Yeah. This game that bastardized football. It really did.
I'll never do it.
Yeah.
I'm in 3 leagues.
Wow.
I've been playing fantasy football for 25 years.
I'm sorry, Dan.
I don't do it no more.
I'm sorry, Dan.
I love it. I love it.
No,
It drives me insane, but I love it.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time and stuff. That's why I don't do it no more. But so, all right. So we're gonna start wrapping this thing up. So we got real quick. I want to ask you guys real quick before we wrap it up. We're gonna make this quick. Give everybody a couple seconds. But Denzel Ward, 5th concussion. Scared, worried? Anybody worried about that?
Very worried.
Yeah, I'm worried about that. What would you? I don't know what he's gonna do. I really don't know what this guy's gonna do. One of the best.
How old is he?
I don't know. He's got to be like 27, 28 probably, right? 29.
After
27.
seeing what happened to McMahon, I just worry for his future.
Yeah, I mean, at what point? I mean, at what point doesn't he just say, "All right, I made enough money, I'm done"?
Family's got to get involved at this point, I believe.
I don't know what to do there, man. That's like he's one dude to me that you really just don't want to lose him on a full-time type basis. Ward is a big deal.
The problem, Ward's always been injured though. Like
I know a lot. I know.
He's like, you blow on him the wrong way, and he's something.
It's
he's so little.
He's a badass, But
he's a little dude, man. He doesn't. There's not much to him. I mean, the NFL's brutal.
Yeah.
Greg Williams was right.
Yeah. So
he learns how to.
I mean, it is kind of worrisome though. I got to say I'm a little worried about that. I hope. I don't know. I hope on that. That one doesn't look good. All right, that's it. We're gonna wrap it up. Seattle Browns win. Browns lose. Browns win. Does anyone care? All right.
Don't really care. It'll be nice to see a W.
I don't care either.
Can they get through without any major injuries?
Yeah. Nobody gets hurt. Right?
And Watson might even play. They said that would be. I would like to see him play a little.
At least one series.
I won't watch a game though. See, that's the thing. I haven't watched any preseason games yet. I really don't care about preseason. All it does is annoy me. So it does. It does.
Let me ask you guys, because I'm curious. Where's Chubb at with his recovery and rehab and all that?
He
So-
may try to come back sooner, but I'd like him to wait 4 games.
I think what you got going on with the Chubb injury is the classic Cleveland Browns aren't talking shit, really, what they're really planning. I think that they're going to hold Chubb back as long as they feel like they have to. Like when the two lines cross, when Chubb's healthy enough and the Browns need him enough type thing, I think that's when Chubb will put the cape on and he'll pop out of the phone booth.
I mean, he's working out a lot and he's sprinting, but he's only running in a straight line, so he's not doing any cuts and he's not cleared for contact yet. So
the fact that he's sprinting is amazing.
It is very much so. So
I mean,
fingers crossed.
Yeah, I think he's important too. I think like Super Bowl. I think.
I want to make
changes.
another point. I'm happy that we don't play the AFC North till like week 7 or after that.
Yeah.
Last year we had 2 of the first 3 games against them.
Yeah, we're not going to be quick out of the gate. I don't think this year either.
I'm just glad we don't see any of those guys till later in the season.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for us. Our hour is up for our first episode. We will see you guys next Tuesday, 8:30.
Love you guys.
Speaking for
Love
Jeff,
y'all.
Larry, Dan, and myself.
Love you, Don Foose, wherever you are.
Yeah, Don.
Don Foose.
Always a pimp for life. Foose. All right, guys. We'll see you guys next week.
Take care, everybody.
Have a good one. See ya.
Here we go, Brownies. Here we go.
Woo, woo, woo.